Okay, to solve this second degree equation, the first thing I did is I just popped the 0 over here, just because I'm used to seeing them in a certain order. And then I rewrote my trinomial or my second degree polynomial in decreasing order of degree. So highest exponent, next highest, lowest exponent. Then we want to factor as we normally do. We look for a common factor first, and we don't have one. Okay. The next thing we do is we have a trinomial. Is it a perfect square trinomial? Okay, well, 9n squared is a perfect square. Is 3? No, unfortunately it's not. Then, is it an a equals 1 trinomial? No. Is it, well, so there's only one kind of trinomial left. It's an a is not equal to 1, which requires PSF or trial and error. So I'm going to do trial and error. So I set up my brackets, and I'm looking for the factors of 9, and I'm thinking 3 and 3. Okay, so I try 3 and 3, and then, so what's my next term going to be? So I'm going to put 1 and 3. Don't worry about the signs. So I put 1 and 3, and I try it out, and it doesn't work. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 1 times 3 is 3. 9 and 3 aren't going to add up, or subtract, or do whatever to make 28. Okay, so that doesn't work. So I'm going to throw that out. Now I'm going to try, my only other choice is 9 and 1. Okay, and for my last term, I'm going to try 1 and 3. So 9 times 3 is 27. 1 times n is 1n. So I have 27n and 1n, 28n. Now that's negative 28. So these guys both have to be negative. Okay, and then we test again. So negative 27n, negative 1n is negative 28n. So it does work. Okay, so these are my factors. Now, the next part is we have two things that multiply to give us 0. Okay. Okay, so I put that equation in. Instead of being 0, I made it y equals 9x squared minus 28x plus 3. Instead of n's, I'm using x's, of course. And I'm graphing that, and it gives me a graph that looks like this. Okay, now, because it's supposed to be 0 equals 9x squared, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, well, when is y equal to 0? Well, on the x-axis. So our solution set is going to be when the x-axis crosses the curve. Okay, and notice the curve goes all over the place. Okay, so sometimes the curve is at, it's at 0. Okay, it's at 0 at 2 places. Now, what that means, and let me just zoom in for a second to give you an idea. Okay, so it's 0 at 2 places. 0 here, very, very close to 0. And it's 0 over here, very, very close to 3, if not actually 3. All right, let's go and see what's happening. So what I'm saying is sometimes this bracket is equal to 0, and sometimes that bracket is equal to 0. Okay, so let's just go to the next step. So if this bracket is equal to 0, then 9n minus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, and if that's true, then I'm going to add 1 to both sides and get 9n equals 1. And then to get the n alone, divide both sides by 9 and get n is equal to 1/9. If this bracket is equal to 0, then we get n minus 3 is equal to 0. Add 3 to both sides, we get n is equal to 3. So this is the answer. Okay. So you can write your answer just like that into the program. It's just when you write 1 over 9, you have to write 1/9. Sorry about that. Or you can write it as a solution set. Okay. Whether you're writing it as a solution set or n equals or x equals or whatever, please make sure you're putting the smallest one first. Okay, the computer's expecting it to be in order, smaller than larger. Okay, and that's it. So let's just go back and look at that graph for a second, just to see that it does actually make sense. So remember, we got two answers. We got 1/9, okay, and here's our 1, and this is broken down. This is 1/10. Okay, that's right. This is like 9/10, 10/10. So each little tiny square is a 10th. So we're talking about something a little bit more than a 10th. Hey, what's a 9th? A little bit more than a 10th. Okay, if we zoom in, you can see that's where we're at. Okay, so this is exactly a 9th. Let me just zoom out for a second. And we can look at the other point where the parabola crosses the y-axis, where that equation was equal to 0. And it's at 3. Okay, and that totally fits our answer, 1/9 and 3. So that's it. Have a good day.